One of the things that's been so frustrating for me is trying to figure out the agenda that's been really popular lately, and it's the UFO thing. Now, last week, me and Cory, we went to the UFO mega conference in Nevada, and we met some pretty interesting cats that are involved in this. Some pretty high level individuals like Danny Sheehan and Rick Doty, who is a former he calls it counterintelligence. I call it misinformation officer. And people of this caliber that are just basically saying that, yeah, I've seen aliens. Well, Doty said he's seen an alien. He said he's seen experimental craft being flown. He's been involved with cases of aliens that have escaped. That our government's known about like at least 5 races of aliens since 1985. He's just, laying all this information out there nonchalantly, like, yeah, by the way. And my thing is, can we believe this guy? He was a counterintelligence officer. Now he's saying he can all of a sudden release this information because it's past his non-disclosure agreements or whatever that was binding him. So, it's very interesting to see what's going on right now. And with, from the sources that the information is coming from. And let me pull up something here on my screen. All right. Can y'all see this here?
Okay. Yeah. I can see it.
All right. It's a Google page.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it more blurry photos like Bigfoot?
No,
Okay.
I wish we had some blurry Bigfoot photos. We need more of those. Those are awesome. But this is all, you type in UFO and you type in news in Google. A couple of years ago, these mainstream news sources would not be talking about UFOs every day. And this is every day we're seeing new articles about UFOs, and they're just trying to find things to talk about in the news now about UFOs. It's very odd and it's very frustrating because why? Like this, the feds want to know what they are and where they're from. Why? Well, why are the feds interested in this? And all of a sudden, why is it okay that the feds are talking about this in the mainstream and people can report UFOs now? It's all very suspicious and it's all frustrating to me because I've been covering this for years. And all of a sudden now the mainstream's going to start covering it and jumping on my shit. No, it's very frustrating. And they don't, they don't deserve to be covering this stuff whenever they were telling us they were crazy for years for covering it. So I'd like to know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Isn't that, all that information, doesn't it have to be disclosed right here over the next
exactly. That's
few
hilarious.
months or whatever. Yeah, doesn't that something runs out right here shortly, I believe, where they have to disclose all the information.
Time runs out. They're gonna leak. They're gonna put as much as they can for that deadline that they have, and then they're gonna push everything else back as far as they can and only release bits and pieces that they feel like releasing.
Okay, yeah, because once again, when you talk about the UFO thing, I've seen a whole bunch of stuff up there about that as well. But harkening back to, looking at what media puts out as far as movies and things of that nature, Army of the Dead, okay? Actually, the premise of that zombie movie is them splicing alien DNA with human DNA. And I just thought it was like really weird timing when they start talking about UFO, because I've never seen that from any other zombie movie.
This is that new zombie movie that just came out?
Yeah, Army of the Dead. It's on Netflix. It's got Batista. Okay. I just thought it was very interesting that right here at the beginning of the movie, whenever they're actually driving the cargo away from Area 51 now, this is where they're taking the cargo from. You see 2 lights in the sky that zoom off, which indicate UFOs. And I'm like, hold on a second. Now, right here recently, they've been talking about UFOs. And what do you know? Zack Snyder, he puts a movie out of an augmented soldier, because that's what we're looking at. That's what they're trying to make, an augmented soldier. that ends up causing a zombie apocalypse. I'm like, what's the correlation? Why now? Because that's never been the case.
If you haven't yet, XCubed,
I
I highly encourage you to go to, it's on my YouTube actually. I did about a 40 minute sit down with Rick Doty. And the things he was saying during that whole 40 minutes was extremely captivating and extremely mind blowing. And if it's true, holy shit. I mean, that's like a sci-fi nerd's wet dream come true. Aliens are real and we've been having them and we know about them. So it's very, very interesting. And that he's all of a sudden able to come out with it at this same time frame that the media and all this is coming out and telling us that we may have something that may be off planet,
Yeah. What's key is, do the aliens look like us? That's the
Are they
question
hot?
that you always want to know.
Can we interbreed with these things?
I mean, are there like hot Latino chicks from outer space? I mean, that's what I want to know.
Oh, Latino?
Yeah, from outer space. Like, I want a Latina chick from Mars. That's what I want.
Yeah, but do you want a Brazil variant? Brazil variant, big booty. I mean, I'm just wondering. There's certain Latinos, okay? Latinas. Let me get.
That's what we'll start calling. Oh, she's got the big booty variant.
Yeah, there we go. Just label everything variants, okay? That's just what I'm gonna do from here on out. Everything that happens is a variant. But I'm right there. I'm right there with you, Cory. It's just
I just want the world to come to an end already. This fucking joke is just. I'm done laughing. Seriously, like giant meteor. Where are you?
Cory, misery loves company, okay? I mean, it does. Misery loves company, all right? Most people, they're like, man, I'm ready to leave. I said, no, life won't let you do that, okay? It's going to make sure you stick around as long as possible. Cory, you live to 100 years old. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, it's only it's still kind of early in the year. We've got a lot of more days left. A lot could happen. So it looks like COVID's failing a bit, and they're probably losing tons of money on this vaccine. So they're already pushing the transhuman thing, and we have to accept these individuals that are very different from us. Well, I would think aliens are really different. Maybe they're starting a campaign to interbreed with aliens, which would be more interesting than COVID, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it has a fresher tone to it. You know what I'm saying? Now, as I said before, what do the aliens look like? What would you describe, or what would your vision be of what an alien would look like?
Well, according to every individual that has supposedly seen these things, they look like those friggin' gray things with the big eyes, and except they have different variants of these little guys. The ones Doty was talking about were kind of terrifying and looked more monstrous than anything, and something that I probably wouldn't want to encounter.
Yeah, well, here's my only issue though. If you were infiltrating, okay, and obviously they've got the technology where they can, fly from different realms or wherever they come from. I don't know. I mean, so you would think they would have the technology to almost do like a scroll, like a shapeshift. That way it's not, sudden, because, humans don't like immediate change. They attack it. So I don't know. I feel like if they were coming here, they would look more like us. I mean, that's just what I would think. And there'd be something that would be slightly different about them, but
we've encountered some individuals that claim that they were aliens at this said conference, and that they've seen aliens at these conferences, and we couldn't tell the difference between a human and an alien. So you may be right. They may look or be able to appear just like we do. Who knows? But the world's gotten so weird right now. I just don't doubt anything anymore. My mind's become so open. My brain's kind of leaking out of my ears a little bit. So I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore.
Should I tell my Daniel Sheehan story?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait, which one?
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, Daniel Sheehan he was one of the Watergate prosecutors, which should have been a big red flag. And then he's worked with like Karen Silkwood and all these different, like cases that made him look like he was the awesome fucking lawyer and this and that. And he also does a course that you can watch. It's on YouTube and on his website, where he does like a 12-video course on the Kennedy assassination.
The way you're awesome, Mr. Sheehan. I sent you an email if you want to come on the show, please.
It's a good course if you don't want to learn about the Kennedy assassination. If you want to learn about Cuba and you want to learn about the anti-Castro Cubans, and you want to learn about all the shit that has nothing to do with the Kennedy assassination, please, it's a great course to watch. So he's doing a Q&A, and I have already at this point shown him my research on the costume people, on Jack Valente, on William Seymour, who was really working in the book depository as Oswald, because Oswald is a figment of people's imagination. And so I show him all this stuff, and the next day he kind of is like cold shouldered to me, doesn't really talk to me, and when I'm asking a question at the Q&A, he doesn't really even look at me. But I asked him a question he couldn't ignore, and I asked him a very important question. I asked him if he, as a Watergate prosecutor, was aware of the contents of a letter written by a guy named Hank Greenspun. Now, no one in the world's heard of Hank Greenspun, but Hank Greenspun is an extremely important person in the Kennedy assassination and in dealings with Israel in the 1940s through the 60s. And he ran the Sun newspaper out of Las Vegas. Now, this letter that he wrote was fundamentally an insurance letter. He felt he was going to get nabbed for his role in the Kennedy assassination. So he basically wrote a letter where he names names and names all kinds of stuff, important enough for the Watergate burglars to actually want to break into his offices in Las Vegas. Okay, so this letter it was at the heart of Watergate, and nobody knows about it. And so I figured he might know about it. And if he would know about it and he really wants to get truth out there, then he would fight to get this letter out there. Well, it turns out that he's been sitting on this letter for like 40 fucking years. And it is the letter that is the absolute proof of the Kennedy assassination. It is the proof of the true motives behind Watergate. And it fills in so many blanks in history, but yet Mr. Sheehan is sitting on this letter, even though he is in possession of it. Kind of puzzling to me. I feel everybody can kind of look into what I'm saying and kind of realize that perhaps our heroes are not necessarily heroes.
And he's there for a 7-day UFO conference. I don't know. This is very strange.
Like this, very strange. I mean, it was in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing else going on. The conference itself it had its moments, but it was kind of.
He was a speaker. He talked about his new institution and stuff, but it was a 1 hour and a half presentation, and he's there all week. He seemed to be enjoying himself.
So it seemed like he was just there for like talking points. As opposed to being like an expert.
He did a presentation, but he hung out for the whole week for no reason. Maybe he was monitoring what was being said there,
Oh, got you. So like a little infiltration, a little spy action.
When I realized
I'm not saying anything. Allegedly.
Okay.
When I realized
allegedly. Yeah.
When I realized that he's sitting on possibly one of the most important letters in history, which could prove the Kennedy assassination was a conspiracy and the extent of it, for him to be sitting on it is just brutally unacceptable.
What's key, Cory, is that what kind of vault is he keeping this letter in? You know what I'm saying? I mean, how well preserved is it?
He keeps it in his hair. His hair is uninfiltratable. It's like a friggin' muppet.
But yeah, so I showed him all my Kennedy research, and then once I realized he was sitting on the Greenspun letter, I felt like the fly when he realizes that he's stuck and he ain't going anywhere, and the fly paper has him. That is how I felt. It was like, oh shit! I just gave my research to the enemy.
Well, I mean, Cory, you do a good job at extracting information. Let's just say that. You do a real good job at that and cornering people. Let's say that.
Well, it was hilarious because when I asked him about that, he literally shook in his chair. When I asked him about the Greenspun letter, his fucking reaction, I've never, ever in my life had anybody react to a question like that.
Yeah, and he had to ask him 2 minutes before I interview him, too.
I literally thought he was going to fall out of his chair. It was like, oh yeah, I got that picture of you with the knife in that dude's back. You remember that one? It was like, it was like saying something like that to somebody. It was unreal. And then then afterwards he shook his head and he's like, damn, he's like, maybe 1 in 1,000 people know about that letter. And I was like, oh.
Of course, you know about it. I mean, come on now. I mean, this is your expertise, it's your field, without a shadow of a doubt.
But if anybody wants to know what happened in the Kennedy assassination, it is all in the Hank Greenspun letter, and Danny Sheehan has a copy of it, and he's sitting on it. You can email him from whatever public sources you get his email and demand he release the Greenspun letter. It will, I promise, it will destroy governments around the world.